All right, we are live. So, welcome everyone. I am Bridget Bartlett. Today, I am so super excited to have Beant Singh and Ruheene Jaura. So excited to pronounce their names correctly. I've said this before, it's so important to me. Anyway, so thank you all so much for joining me. Today is our normal weekly group coaching session, but this week we've actually talked about Hey Levi, the ability to white label Hey Levi, how we can use this to create a brand profile, how much time this saves us. And one of the things that I love about Hey Levi, because everybody asks me, well, what makes it different from every other AI tool? But I love the simplicity of it for the end user who's maybe not the techie person like we are, but the ability to generate that brand profile and not just even use it in Hey Levi, but use it in ChatGPT or any other AI tools that require you to train the AI, because obviously we want great trained AI to create great output. And so Hey Levi makes that really easy. And what's super cool is we can white label it and add it to our HighLevel account. So welcome, Beant and Ruheene. Thank you so much for joining me. I do want to, before we get started, I do want to show everyone how you can join, how you can get logged in here. And I just lost here we go. Let me share my screen here. All right, so if you are a new member or you want to join, of course, you can go to myvisionagency.com. You can choose to join using the tools only, or you can choose our software reseller program. If you're a client, you want to log in here. If you're an agency, you want to log in here. Regardless if you're logging into the dashboard or our community, it's the same area. So to get access to our weekly group coaching sessions, you want to click here, log in with your membership email address, and then you'll get access to the Zoom meeting. So you do have to be a visionary reseller to get access to the weekly group coaching session. If you've missed any of the training this week, we've gone over all these things with Hey Levi. All you need to do is just click on Hey Levi here in the left-hand channel, and then you'll find all of that training here, as well as our meeting today. So thank you so much again for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Bridget. I love how you showcased that and how organized that screen was with all the different updates and coaching sessions. That was beautiful.
Yeah, you know what? It's so cool, and I love being an affiliate. I know I spoke on stage with Beant last year at the High Level Summit, and I do want to call out Ruheene because she is going to be speaking at the High Level Summit this year. So if you guys are going, rock stars there. But I love being the affiliate because as I teach white label software reselling, I don't want to just say, look how cool this AI coach is. I want to say, oh my gosh, you guys, look how cool Hey Levi is and how you can white label this and add it to your high level account. That's so much more fun for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's the best part about Hey Levi, right? It's built for agencies to stand up a product that helps them differentiate themselves from a bunch of the other high level folks that are selling the same thing, right? It's another tool that differentiates you very well, and it does a great job at being that amazing tool and setting you apart. Especially when we were talking about the brand profile earlier. You had mentioned the product starts with the brand positioning guide as the core, where you're able to go in, literally answer 4 questions in there, and now it learns about what do you do best, what do you stand against in terms of your competitors, and what do you want your customers to do when they come there. From those 4 questions, it formulates your pain points, your elevator pitch, your avatar, it personifies your avatar as well, so that now you know exactly what your customers, your potential customers, are thinking about, and it gives you the ideas of how to talk to them. It goes further, adding on identity pillars, value propositions as well, which then going forward, if I'm skipping ahead a little bit, now anytime you want to go back and create content for whether it's nurture sequences, social media posts, lead magnets, it's literally just 1 or 2 clicks, one sentence written in. You don't have to train it on the whole brand thing ever again, or your product or service. Once those 2 pieces are in, now you're able to just write as much content as you want, and literally in just minutes. And we can even showcase that here in a little bit with Ruheene um,
You know,
to
I
show you the power of that.
Yeah, I would love for her to show that because I'm sure she knows much more than I do, even at that point. But I think that to really appreciate the value of what you just said, you have to go through the painstaking process of trying to create
Yes.
this yourself. Or here's the other thing, because I love that we could generate it and then just use that report because what I used to do before Hey Levi was use ChatGPT, and then you go through this whole process of training it with all of your business information. And I am not kidding you. One time I something happened to that thread and it said error and I had to like create a new thread and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this all over again." So I I love that so much. I can't explain. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, that
Actually,
that's
just to
that's
jump in there, Bridget, you said exactly what I was going to jump in and say, that you have to go through the pain of doing this in ChatGPT to really understand how much time you're getting back in your life. That was a painful story when you lose the entire thread. But even if you don't lose the thread, if you want to change something like your business evolves, your customers evolve, your market changes, and if you want to change some context now, trying to educate the chat, your ChatGPT, and update the conversation when you don't really remember what it is that you've said before. You have to scroll up, find that thing. It's a whole can of worms, and I just see so many people spending hours on it. So yeah, that's really where the core value of the app comes in, and what you can provide to your customers as a white label agency, where you can just take that pain away from them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
that. Yeah, on the losing the content part, just a few days ago, right before our official launch of Hey Levi to the public, me and Ruheene were on the computer inside HighLevel updating funnels and updating some of the content in there, right? And for whatever reason, it would not save everything we wrote in there. And then it took us several tries, and man, that pain of, oh no, if we lose this thing was just insane. So that same pain you're going into ChatGPT and having to lose that content versus in Hey Levi, once it's there, it's there. Now you never have to train your brand again, right? You're comfortable, you're confident knowing that every time you want to go out, even with just minutes to spare, you want to go out and write something, maybe a quick social post or any other content in there, you can quickly do that with just a handful of minutes without having to tell it what to do, what your brand does, what your unique value propositions are. Maybe, Ruheene, if you have it pulled up in front of you, we should actually show that so that we can drive home the point of how easy it is to utilize the software.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm actually going to pull up this example account here. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, I see it.
Yep.
So this is a little example for a make-believe. I think it's a make-believe. Somebody on our team actually put this together. So it's a grocery store, sorry, not grocery store, non-grocery store green tea brand. So this, when you log into Hey Levi, the first thing you'll see is your brand once you've created it. If you haven't yet created it, it will prompt you to do that first. But this is kind of what your brand positioning guide looks like. So it gives you, and this is, let me show you actually, before I show you everything, let me show you what you're going to input to make the AI give you all of this back, and you'll see how simple it is and non-complicated. So you put in your brand name here, who your target audience is. Again, it doesn't have to be the super dialed in customer avatar, just a one-liner, quick description of who you serve. This is an optional tone of voice. Once you select this here, this is going to apply to every single piece of content that you create in the app. And then these 4 questions really are the only place where you have to do a little bit of thinking to really understand, to identify and to tell the AI, what does your brand do for your audience? And again, this is going to be for each of your customers as well. You just let them know to fill out this quick thing. And then the AI basically takes over from there. So you tell the AI what your brand does. Again, you can see we're not going into paragraphs here. Just a simple line or two is good enough. What do you stand against as a brand? What are some of the other gurus in your industry preaching, and that that's not going to get your customers actual results. That's the kind of stuff that you would put in here. One thing that you do best that your competitors don't right now. So what sets you apart? Again, the AI is going to help you dial this in, but just whatever comes to mind, you just put that in here. And then, of course, an action that you want them to take. This is going to translate more into your website. But that's all you feed into the AI, and then it does everything else for you. So what it spits out for you and what you can edit is your entire brand narrative. So who your customer avatar is at a brand level. This gets much more dialed in at the product level once you start building in all of your products and services. But your customer avatar, what their main pain point is, what your brand's positioning is, how you can actually help this customer. The solution, so it's usually like a 3-step solution to make it super easy. Again, a lot of this will translate into your website copy if you generate it through the app. And what the risk of inaction is, right? And this is also something that, apart from just your website, if you have this as your source of truth and you have multiple people on your team, or even if it's just you and you're getting on a sales call, when objections come up, when people ask you about how are you different from X, Y, and Z, how is your agency different from the next high-level agency down the road that's maybe offering me exactly what you're offering me for 50% off? This is a great resource to have in front of you to quickly remind yourself of what some of those differentiating factors are, right? So some of this, it gives you your elevator pitch here. So again, if you need to just quickly explain what it is that you do and how you can help this customer, that lives right on top. And it's also a great way to have your entire team give the same answer, because really what you want is consistency, right? When you talk about your brand, what you do for your customer, who you serve, you want that to be consistent. You don't want your salesperson saying something, your marketing person saying something else, and and confusing your customer basically. Apart from that, it also dials in your value propositions for you, gives you taglines that you can use in all of your marketing materials based on those value props, what some of your colors should be for your brand. So this is a full end-to-end guide. And with the colors, it doesn't just tell you what normally, what you'll get from like a Google search, like what does this color mean? It'll actually tell you for your specific customer avatar, what this color is going to mean to them, right? Not just what it means in general. And then you also have products and services. So once you have your products and services created, it will segment your audience, dial in these customer avatars, make them really, really detailed. So you can see this is a lot more detailed than your customer avatar on the brand level. And there's a reason for that. Because these are, again, dialed in customer avatars that you are now going to be super specific with, especially when you're coming up with sales language. Your marketing language can be a little bit more broad. Sales language needs to really be targeted to the person that you're speaking with, right? So it gives you, demographics and pain points, which a lot of us marketers talk about already. But some of the things that you don't commonly see are, what are their core motivators? What is their inner dialogue? What is their decision-making process? What makes them them, so that you can really reach them and resonate with them on a much deeper level than just knowing what their pain points are, right? If you have a URL, or even if you don't, the AI will help you like record all of your the pain points that your offer sells, offer addresses, I mean. So all the pain points that you solve, the features of your offer, your product or service, and the benefits of those features, right? And then it will take all of that, and this is really where the gold is for your sales language, whether that's a sales call or whether you're creating sales copy. It dials in what I like to refer to as who cares and why. A lot of people will talk about their value props as, this is what I offer. This is the feature that I have that nobody else has, right? I offer more coaching calls than anybody else. It's just a random example. But what does that really mean? Like, who cares about that extra coaching call and why, right? If you can answer that specifically and quickly, you win those sales conversations so much easier, because that's the conversation that your customers are having, right? Like, do I really care about what this person is selling me right now? And why can I not just go to somebody else who's going to give me this for cheaper? And that's where your value comes in. So the AI basically dials in your value proposition mapping, which means for each of your target segments, now not just your entire audience, but for each of your customer avatars, each of your market segments, who cares about the value that you provide and why? And this is all recorded for you here. Again, this is a great resource for your sales calls, handling sales objections. And also this is what's going to get pulled into your sales copy when you create it through the app without having to tell the AI over and over again what the context is. And then, of course, we have all of these different copy modules, but as a quick example to show you how easy copy generation then becomes once all of this lives in the app. Now, let's say I want to send out a quick email with a promo, right? A quick promo email. I can simply select one of my products that I've already got in the app so that the AI knows which product and which positioning we're using. I can pull in my target audience. In this case, it's just my brand level audience that it's pulled in and segmented at the product level. And then here are my 3 personas. So I can pick, do I want to is this email meant for my general customer avatar, or is this for a segmented, very specific customer avatar? So for example, let's say I want to go with Michael, right? So I can see here on the right, I can see all the details about him because I'm not going to remember who Michael is necessarily. And at the bottom, I can also see engagement strategies. So if there is something that I want to say in this promotional email, the AI is going to quickly remind me how I can engage with this person as I'm dialing this email in, right? So I'm just going to select that. It already knows everything about it, again, about my product. My entire product details, everything's been pulled in here. I can edit this if there's a special offer that is only for this email. If there's a specific holiday that's coming up and there's a promo Labor Day sale or something, or I can just leave that blank. And then I just hit next. So I didn't do any typing at this stage at all to generate my copy. I just selected a few options and now it's just doing everything for me. And there. So now it knows my brand voice. It knows everything that makes my brand unique. It knows everything about my offer and what makes that unique. It knows everything about the customer avatar that I'm targeting. It just knows all of that. And now with just a few clicks, it's created this very human sounding email that is going to sound like what I've trained it at the brand level.
Yeah. So this is what the app does in a nutshell, right? You set up the brand positioning guide, you set up your product, and then thereafter, whenever you go in, now those 2 things are set up. You can go in anytime and create any new content, just like we've created this email. And you have to do little thinking and little telling for it to generate content. Look, we understand and we understood really well for being in business for a number of years that we weren't taught copywriting in school. We weren't taught how to speak to our customers in marketing speak so that we can engage them really well, right? And we know that majority of the business owners out there feel the same exact way. They have the same exact problems as well, which is why there's the job description of a copywriter. You go hire them and do that. But they could be very expensive as well, depending on what you're hiring them for. So this app makes that super easy. It empowers our day-to-day business owners and lets them generate the content they need to generate to keep their business moving forward and not have to rely on a copywriter filling out these long product briefs or copy briefs telling them everything about their business and how they're different, right? They don't have the time to sit down. We don't have the time to sit down and think about all of that. We want someone to do that for us. If we did, we would just do it, right? Because we don't, that's where this app comes in. Now you can write an email really, really fast. You can put out a social post within just minutes, just like Ruheene showed us here. And you can create a number of months of content in using something like a nurture sequence or lead nurture sequence. They're the social media posts where it creates bulk content in just a single 1 or 2 clicks for you. That way you can have a nurture sequence that follows up for 3 months. You can have blog social media posts that go out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, number of, depending on however many you generate, right? And it makes generating that content extremely easy and super fast.
I have to say, one of the things I absolutely love about the email thing is because I love to provide resources for my members. They can all attest to this. I love to provide that for them because I know that the learning curve is an obstacle. And so I want to break down the barriers for them. But the thing is, when you're like a coach and you don't have a specific niche, right? I can't just create a email sequence that's universal for everyone. I just can't do that because everyone has different businesses and different ways that they're using HighLevel. But I love that we can provide a tool like this so that they're still getting over that hump or that barrier of like, I don't know copywriting. I don't know how to write. What do I even write? They can get past that barrier without us having to create this for them, or creating a semi-universal, maybe not so converting, generic email sequence, and then them having to go through and edit and do all this to make it their own. So I love that.
Yeah, one of the great things about the lead nurture sequencing here is as well is that it's designed in a educational knowledge first format where it's not salesy or pushy. It attempts to educate your buyers, your prospects, so that they can make a knowledgeable decision. And being in business for a number of years, we all can agree, we all know that your customers that make a knowledgeable and educated decision are the best type of customers, right? They stick around with you for a much longer time versus an impulsive buyer or someone who bought out of FOMO of just, purely missing out a deal or something of that nature. And when they make an educated decision and they understand what your product does and the problem it solves for them, the solution it provides for them, they're going to pay more attention to that product or service, and they're going to take it for a longer run to make sure that it's actually able to produce what it needs to produce versus someone taking something up. Let's just use trial as an example. Taking it on trial, get in there quickly, don't understand what the heck it does. Now let's cancel, right? That's how we lose conversions. But now if you're educating them on your product in service, and they're making that decision through the knowledge that they've learned through one of these lead nurture sequences, they're more likely to stick with you for a longer period of time. And that's exactly how this lead nurture sequence is built out. It does have call to actions in there as well, but every few emails, it actually asks you to, hey, if you're ready to sign up, or you're looking for, the problem, if you're looking to solve the problem that our business solves, whatever the call to action may be, it inserts that in there, lets them take action from there. And I think Ruheen's doing exactly that. She's generating 14 emails right now while I was talking, and she is on 14 out of 14 to generate, and we're gonna view just that quickly, right? She I think, did you type in the topic to this one, Ruheen?
Yeah, I did. And so let me show you
Yeah.
that part, because this one requires one line of typing, unlike the previous one we looked at. So this is actually generating your entire 14. And the reason we have 14 is because we encourage you not to create content for more than a quarter at a time. I know it sounds good in theory to create a year's worth of content, but things are changing so quickly. Your market is changing so quickly. If you're not refreshing your content at least every quarter, you risk just sounding very outdated. So that's personally how we do it, although you could do this 4 times and just have your entire year's worth of content as well, if that is something that has worked for you. But in this example, basically I picked Emma, so I picked a different customer avatar here. And at the bottom, of course, it does cut off because some of these are really long. And so if you really want to dive in and see the whole card, you'll have to go back to the product level. But on the right, I can see that to engage her, she cares about the authenticity of her green tea. And if you look at the whole card, this is this customer avatar's main concern, is the authenticity of her foods and her drink and her teas. So I just took that and wrote down a topic here for my 14 emails, which is how the authenticity of your green tea impacts your health, because I know that this is going to resonate with this customer avatar based on what the AI has already told me. And that's really all I typed out. And then when I went next, now it's going to educate her and build that relationship for the first few emails on the authenticity of green tea and why that matters and how that impacts your health before asking for a sale. So we can read through some of these just to kind of show you what Beant was talking about here. So, why doesn't green tea just do the trick? Because it matters. The authenticity of your green tea matters more than you might think. Most green teas in the market are mass produced, losing their purity and health benefits along the way. You end up with a tea that's more about quantity than quality. And if you're like a health conscious person in any way, even if you don't drink green tea, I drink coffee, but like this already resonates with me, right? Because if something is mass produced, that's right, it's probably not going to be as authentic and pure and good for my body as I want it to be, or as I've convinced myself. So if I'm this customer avatar this is going to resonate with me. And hopefully you guys can see that, where it's not about your product. It's not about what you're trying to sell them. You're just trying to have a conversation with them. So it's just, giving them a quick tip, look for single origin teas instead of looking at grocery stores where this is all mass produced, look for single origin teas. These come from one location. So it basically explains why this is important. And then just gives them like an extra tip in the PS, because we know that's what keeps the conversation going. As marketers, we know that that's best practice. So it does all of that for you. And then the next few emails are going to be more like building on that topic. So it builds on the previous email. There aren't just 14 disjointed emails. So, it's going to build on that topic, not repeat itself, not already share a tip that is already shared, before it starts to kind of ask for a sale every once in a while, right? So like, so this is the first call to action. So email number 4, it's finally saying, why don't you order a free sample, right? Like start there. So again, it's just building on itself over the course of the 14 emails.
Yeah, one of the sorry, go ahead, Bridget.
I was just going to ask, what type of like training for the AI do you guys input on the back end, like behind the scenes? What's happening back there?
Well, we have, if anyone's familiar with the different kinds of prompting, we have things like chained prompting and very advanced level tree of thought prompting, all done on the back end. So we have over 130 prompts at this point and growing. All of that is working on the back end with the information that you're inputting through the app's UI, through the user interface, to tell it details about your brand, but then it has reference to over 60 marketing and sales frameworks, to NLP frameworks for more of your sales language, and like I said, over 130 prompts. So all of that is what's going on in the back end to produce all of this for you.
So to help you understand what Ruheene just said in a simpler format, you don't have to become a prompt engineer. We've done that for you, and it's going to produce content based on proven methods, proven marketing frameworks that are utilized publicly and have been popularized by several of the big names out there that are using them in their regular marketing basis. So you don't have to go out and learn those and what they are. You simply come in here, tell it about your brand, about your product, and get writing copy, which is all what we want to do so we can get more customers coming into our doors.
Yeah, so all you guys have to do, if you just don't want to sign up for Hey Levi, you just have to go be an expert in like 60 different marketing strategies and create these prompts and ChatGPT. That's all you have to do, you guys. So in a few years, you'll be there. Or you could just sign up for Hey Levi.
There we go. That's the best way you can present that product during
Keeping
that.
it real.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, only a couple of years of education and learning and being in the weeds, and by then it'll all change. Anyways, right?
Right.
So a couple more years of education thereafter, and you'll finally be writing your first email copy.
Actually, what you just said there really quickly is really important, because I see a lot of folks have these Google Docs. They have like 20, 25, 30 pages of prompts that they've been collecting from all these different sources. And then you go to like in-person conferences and somebody will show a slide of how to like of their favorite prompt, and everyone's taking a picture. And you go home and you find that that isn't working for you. And there's so many different reasons, right? Why somebody else's prompt just isn't going to work for you unless it's built to take in specific information from you and work for you. And the reason for that is without the context that we've been talking about, the AI has no way of producing the same thing that it produced for someone else, gave them a great output. It doesn't necessarily have the same context in your business. And also every time OpenAI updates their models, so when like GPT-4o came out, it was completely different from GPT-4, and we had to go in and update and test and update over and over again, all 130 prompts that we have. Because we have a team doing it, right? And so we understand that that gets really difficult for somebody who's trying to do this on their own, and keep up with all of the updates, all of the new models. There's just little tweaks will change things. I mean, I'm in these AI groups where they're talking about, hey, ChatGPT was giving me this great stuff like last month. I'm still using 4.0. I was using 4.0 last month. I'm still using 4.0, but something's changed. It's just not giving me the same stuff anymore. And this is why.
Yeah, so you
It's
don't have to keep up with trying to learn all the models that the LLMs are releasing. They're all being taken care of it for you.
I did want to say, you guys who are watching and here in the meeting, if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand and then we'll definitely get to you. Um, I absolutely love what you guys are doing. Do you have any plans of doing like a white label? I know you have a standalone, but do you have any plans of doing the white label standalone?
The white label standalone, at least not at this time, and I don't see us necessarily going down that direction anytime soon. There, unless there's a very compelling reason why that should be the way. We're definitely open. We're always ears and eyes open to listen to the feedback and do what our customers want and like and need to succeed. But we do have the white label within the HighLevel that you can create, and it goes right into right inside your HighLevel. And now that HighLevel's announced the newer map policy, the minimum advertised policy, and they've allowed you to remove all locked features as well. You can you're basically just using the skin of HighLevel, and you're essentially fully white labeled in exact manner you would be otherwise.
I love the idea, especially, because we're all high level agency owners. I love the idea of having our high level agency and then using these types of third party tools as like lead magnets or like,
Yeah.
in our value ladder so that we can upsell to other tools, other services, and all of that. So I love that. Tony, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you, Bridget.
Uh,
Um, I don't know if I missed it, but I wanted to ask, could we do that in different languages? Could we produce that in different languages? I don't know if I missed that portion or not.
We
Yeah.
didn't talk about that, but yeah, so your output can be in all of these different languages that OpenAI supports right now, since that's the only AI that we're using, only LLM that we're using. We are going to be using other ones soon as well. But really it's whatever language that they support. So there's a whole ton of languages in here. I will say that there are some languages like Spanish that we've been told by our Spanish-speaking customers work exceptionally well. Whereas something like Greek, it's a little bit of a hit or miss. It doesn't always, I mean, we still have quite a handful of Greek customers using them and loving it. But we do hear every once in a while that it will say something that doesn't quite make sense in that language. So some languages, Spanish, apparently it works really well.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Keith, you had a question?
Beant, I won't bug you about pizza today, but if you guys use lead scoring in your version of HighLevel, mine should be about 1,000 because I've been watching and I think it's all great. You answered the majority of my question about what the value proposition you're offering agencies is in terms of keeping up with the prompt engineering and I think you mentioned prompt chains, and that you are in fact following up with each additional new version. Do you use more than OpenAI, or that's probably too complicated? You stick with the one?
Yeah, at this time we don't. Ruheene just mentioned a few seconds ago that we do have plans to bring in others to expand capabilities. At this time, it's just OpenAI.
Okay.
The Claude will be the next one that we integrate with.
Fantastic. And then, I think I'm caught up pretty much to where you are at this point. Is there anything else about where you're moving forward that you can share with us now that we can look forward to?
Yeah, so the main idea is for us to continue to empower business owners, the end users, your customers and yourself, to make copywriting extremely and exceptionally easy for them. Right now, we're confident in saying that we're the fastest app that writes copy on brand and understands your content without you having to tell it and remind it over and over again what it does. And we're going to continue moving forward to towards that direction. There will be more modules released, a business plan module, a marketing plan module, and several other things in that nature, where your users are going to want to come back constantly to the app and see where they are in their journey and what should they be writing about next. Along with that, Ruheene, is there anything else that you want to add to that?
No, just one thing that I wanted to add to, actually, I said no and then I said yes, sorry. But yes. I know Beant just talked about like how fast we write copy. I do personally, I think of the how fast we write copy as a side effect. Because Paulton had asked me a couple of months ago, what would you say, like, you know, everyone's talking about conversation AI, content AI, what would you say Hey Levi is? And I said it's a strategy AI. Right? Because it leads from strategy. So everything, our roadmap, and you know, once you sign up, you get access to the whole roadmap, and you know, we love having ideas shared by our customers. We want to hear what you guys need in the app and what you want to see. And so we have a pretty robust roadmap and wish list already that we are working on. But really the way we pick, apart from, you know, what the most upvoted feature is, just like HighLevel does, where we really look for our ideas that align with this idea of strategy first. So anything like Beant mentioned, you know, your business plan, we're going to be, you know, looking at more ways of how you can bring in what your customers are actually saying into your customer avatars, things like that. Everything that's going to align with a strategy first approach is what is our North Star. So with that comes faster copy because you're not constantly adding that additional context. And so that's a nice little side effect that you get with that.
That all sounds fantastic and incredible. In a nutshell, to help me understand, you're using copywriting styles and techniques and best practices, AI prompt best practices and skill to manipulate and test the recipe over and over to allow for the best quality copywriting to pop out for the individual, for the plumber or whomever. Is that pretty much it? Okay.
Correct.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. You can put
Yeah,
my
and
100%.
yeah, and the attempt is that we want it to be on brand every single time, instead of them having to tell it what to do.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You know, that's so helpful too, because I know it is so annoying I love AI, but it's so annoying to like generate this whole blog post or whatever you're creating. And then it's like you spend twice as much time just going back and editing it all to make it like on brand and on point. So that's really, I think, where Hey Levi just excels among
Yeah.
most other AI
You
tools for sure.
you can actually use the app on a day-to-day basis. Just to give you an example, I use it personally on a day-to-day basis as well. Our team sent out an email to a few of our customers where we had a mistake, and I needed to now write an apology message to them. I literally went inside the app, told the app what I needed to write. It brought in information from our brand and our values, and it wrote me a perfect apology message that I did not edit a single word except for added my name at the end and sent it off. And it was exactly what I would, if I had the time to sit down and think about and write it. It was very similar to something I would have written for our customers. And it did that. And we sent it off and it was perfect. Got a great response to those that had received that original email.
You know, that's such a good point because I think a lot of times, like with emails like that, we like sit there and we think, how do I word this? I want to relay this the correct way. And then it's like you're thinking so much about that, but it's so nice to just be able to put that in there and then have like, and way less time than having to write it yourself. Basically, someone else that's saying, let me just get this for you. And then they
Yeah.
put in all the fluff and make it sound all nice. And if it's me, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I screwed up. Sorry. Here's how you fix it.
That's right. Right. Yeah, it can sound professional. So the tone of voice we use for externally is professional, enthusiastic, and casual. Right. We want to sound enthusiastic, but at the same time, more conversational and professional as well. So it does a great job listening to that tone of voice and writing appropriately. So there were some jokes in there, because we were talking about a mistake to kind of lighten the mood. And there was still a professionally written email at the end as well.
That's so awesome. Charles, you had a question?
Yeah. So, and I really, it's funny. I saw one of the videos that you guys did in the beginning. It was a like an hour-long video on the product, and I'm still really impressed by it. I love the fact that it can spit out um very quickly and on brand, as you all have been saying, copy that helps move the needle. One of the things, and I might be a little foggy on this, when you're feeding it information, I believe that it can scrape like your websites and stuff like that.
Yep.
And what my question is, a lot of, especially in what I'm doing now, I have a lot of video content. So then how does that work? Do I need to have that, um what's the word, like transcribed and input in, or how does that work?
That's a
You
great
can.
question.
Yeah. I don't think we extract from videos or transcribe from videos
Okay.
directly at this time, right?
We don't. You will need to transcribe them. But since you're asking, a direction that we are going over the next couple of months is you being able to upload all of this information. So once you have your transcriptions, to add more context to your version of the AI, so your account, so that it can also not just use all the information that it's using right now, which it's mostly generating for you, but it can actually use information that you provided specifically, and one of those things is your video transcriptions.
Okay. And like that, for me, that's been a little bit of apprehension. If and I apologize because I'm clearly not the smartest guy in the room. Um, so how do I, with a lot of video content, feed that in? What's the best way for me to do it?
Yeah. So
Um,
Transcribe it, I get that, and then put it where? Or you're saying I can't do that at this time?
Correct.
right.
You can't do it at this
Okay.
time.
Yeah, at this time, so that's a feature that we'll be releasing in the future. At this time, you can still transcribe it and maybe use pieces of it to tell the app some of the items that you wanted to know, but you can't store it at this time.
Okay.
Oh, that is such a great suggestion, Charles, though, because for those of us who put out massive video
Right.
content,
Yeah.
it would be so cool to go in there and be like, I'm going to update you on today's training. Can you just write an email about this video and then send it to my list?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Uh,
There's another cool feature in the app that we haven't talked about. It's called Brainstorm AI. And the coolest part about this is it feels just like ChatGPT, as if you would go there and talk talk to ChatGPT, but you can brainstorm any amount of ideas. Tell the app, I want to come up with these type of ideas or that type of ideas, and I'll give you suggestions there. And there's an additional little hidden piece. It's the little microphone that's flashing there. You can talk to it. You don't have to type either. You can talk to it, so you can speak to the app, and then once it's done, it'll speak back to you what the ideas are that it came out with.
yeah, that's super cool. You can even choose the language or the voice that it like reads
Yes.
back
Yeah,
to. That's so
yeah,
cool.
you can choose that as well. Yeah.
Manolo, you have a question?
Actually, I have more than a question. I have two or three. Uh, Number one, uh, you mentioned that it works in different languages, and especially in Spanish. Obviously, you can tell I'm interested in Spanish, but how does it change languages? Is it based on the browser? Do you have to tell, you know, HighLevel to switch to Spanish, or is it your app, your platform independently?
Yeah, so let me help you understand that. So the content of the app that it outputs, that you ask for it to write, for example, an email or lead nurture sequence, it can write that in that language that you choose. The app itself doesn't translate, at least yet, to the different languages. So the menus, the headings, all of that still stays in English, at least for the time being. But the content that it outputs, that could be in Spanish or any other language.
And the content that you input. So whenever you're inputting anything, like your brand guide and all of that can be in Spanish.
Yes. So do I have to in ChatGPT, I have to tell and give me the answer in Spanish?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to do the same with your app, or will default to that? I mean,
So
either way, I could use it. There's no question about it. I just
yeah.
wanted to see.
Yeah, so when you are building out your brand guide, you will pick your language right here. So that's the first thing you do in the app is you create your brand guide. And the
Mhm.
first thing you do with your brand guide is pick, it defaults to English, but if you change this to whatever language, so wherever Spanish is,
Are you
S,
sharing?
right there. What was that?
Are you sharing?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can see it. I can see your screen.
yeah, you can, right?
I can see you, but I mean the screen that you go into.
Yeah, you don't see my screen?
No, it could be my fault because
You might need to change your Zoom, the view of your Zoom room.
yeah.
Yeah, essentially though, no, what Ruheene is showing is that on the very top of every single section, there's a language drop down. You can individually select from that, or when you build your brand positioning guide, since that's the first thing the app asks you to do, you can tell it which language, and then any other content you create, it'll automatically default to that language. So
Okay.
you won't have to constantly be changing every single time.
Yeah,
Okay.
so basically, I mean,
And I say white label type thing. Uh, if I offer your product to, I mean, if I buy the unlimited package, that's where we want to go that way. My sub accounts will get it in that language. Am I right?
your sub accounts will need to create their brand positioning guide first. So as long as they create their brand positioning guide in Spanish and save Spanish. So I didn't recreate the brand guide that we have in this account, but all I did was change the language at my brand level. And now in every module, it's going to default to that language.
Excellent, excellent. Question number 2. Brent,
Mhm.
when are you gonna do this for us about Stanley? When I was in Dallas, I talked to you guys and there was no support in Spanish and onboarding in Spanish. And I found out that now you have it available. I mean, just
For
we're
Extendly?
talking about something else right now, but I want to make sure eventually you meet with us and tell us about what you have when it comes to Stanley.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're likely referring to Extendly's services.
That's correct.
And yes, we do have that available.
Okay. And another thing, I do like, HighLevel like everyone else here. I mean, it's pretty outstanding. It's pretty unique. And it makes everything easier. And everything I looked into Stanley, I like it a lot too. Now, I don't have the sub accounts right now to go bolt and Stanley, but I'm hoping to, of course. But since you guys are kind of together, Stanley and HighLevel, what if somebody decides to go with both packages? Will get like a special price, a special offer? I mean, I'm just asking because why not?
Yeah.
Not on the price. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly answer this, but I think the biggest advantage of getting them together is that your sub accounts get white label support through Extendly in that case, because Extendly
Correct.
is supporting your sub accounts and your customers. So that's the big value add that you would get.
All right. I appreciate it. I do hope to see you guys talk about Stanley eventually, of course. Bridget will set that up if it's necessary. Thank you.
Yeah,
Nola's
perhaps another time. Yeah.
Nola's my
Thank you.
manager. He takes care of all that. And Beant, you're welcome to come back and talk about Extendly anytime you want to.
Fantastic. Thank you for the invite, Bridget. Appreciate that.
Of course. Let's see, Ray, you have a question?
It's mainly curiosity because this fad, people say, with AI is a growing thing and it's experiencing tremendous growth. But have you encountered mistakes that AI makes You said you're using ChatGPT. Is that the engine you're using?
OpenAI, yeah. Which is
OpenAI, okay,
the
yeah.
engine for
And
ChatGPT.
so mistakes with that engine have been pointed out, and a few companies have actually not read what they publish, and then when they do publish it, it's catastrophic. So have you come up? I guess the one caveat is whenever you get it ready and you put it in, you need to read the feedback and read every word of what comes. You can't just say, well, AI did it for me, here it is. And so, the burden is on the
Reading and
owner
confirming.
to confirm it.
Yeah.
And
So,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, next question. You just go ahead. What did you want to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I think what you're referring to is like a plagiarism checker, and that we don't have built into the app just yet. It is an idea that has been floated to us by a few customers, so we are looking into it. That being said, we had a customer a couple of weeks ago tell me that they do a lot of blog writing for their customers, and they've been using Hey Levi pretty extensively. They used to use Jasper. One of the key reasons they moved over to Hey Levi is because when they ran it through their own plagiarism checker, which is a third-party tool, they found that the content that was coming back from Jasper was consistently at about 30%. And I'm not going to validate this because I haven't done the test myself in full transparency, but this is just what a customer of ours told us who is doing this actively for their own customers. But when they run Hey Levi's content through it, they've seen it always be at around the 2 to 3% mark. Now, that is not something we've done, and we can't guarantee that just because we don't have control over the LLM. It is still OpenAI. Claude has more guardrails on their LLMs, which is another big reason we want to move towards that and provide that as an option. But that is really more on the LLM, and then you as the user to check on your end. We do everything that we can on the back end to minimize it. But again, it can't be a guarantee because we just don't have control over the LLM itself.
Great, that's a good answer, and it bears repeating that the client needs to read it and read it over and read it over and determine how accurate it is and make changes. The other question is just kind of fluff. Where did the word "Hey Levi" come from?
That was a lot of back and forth sessions.
A lot of late night brainstorming sessions. Hey Levi, well, first of all, it's an AI app, and what we really wanted to do is give it a name that suggested it was AI. And so we were like, what's the one thing that, instantly makes us feel like, okay, this is an AI thing? It's, hey Google, hey Siri, it's the hey. And so we were like, that's what we should do, a hey name. I wish I had a cooler story, but this is the honest truth. This is where we came up with it. And then also we were like, okay, so hey, what name? And then we were like, let's just put a spin on HighLevel and make it Hey Levi. And so that's really where the name came from.
Oh, cute.
It's gone over my head. Where's Levi? What is Levi?
It's just a name that kind of rhymed with HighLevel. Hey Levi.
High level.
High level.
High Levi.
Okay, it could have been Hey Louie or Hey Lawrence or Hey.
They don't have these, but pretty much, yeah. It was the name that just sounded like it kind of high level. Hey Levi, it just kind of went together
Hey,
with the
Luis.
LLV. Luis doesn't have a V, but yeah, so we just like how Levi and yeah.
Level.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks.
and
That's
then
straightened it out.
I have a running joke with Rob and Alex from HighLevel. Turns out his son is named Hey Levi. So I keep telling him, hey, what's let me know when you have more kids and then you name them so I can use them for the next product that we build.
That's cool. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Tony, you have a question?
Yeah. Actually, when it comes to like the LLMs, like none of them are secure. They're like all on the same playing field. So you just have to it doesn't matter what AI tool you use, they all have the same problem. So you just have to go into it already knowing that. My question is API keys. When you start adding the other LLM, are we going to be able to decide which model we want to use? Or that's one question. The second question is, do we have to use our own API keys?
If you're white labeling it, yes. And that was actually our very first version that we tested out in December 2022, I believe. was didn't require your API key, and that was the number one request that we got from the agencies that were trying it out for us at the time, is that you guys wanted to use your API key so that there isn't like any sort of extra charge on it. We're not, what's the word for it? What's the word I'm looking for, Ben?
Rebilling?
Markup, yeah. So we're not
Okay.
marking up the raw usage costs. And so since you guys are selling to your customers, so the white label version, yes, will require your own API key. We haven't quite decided how we're going to do it with Claude, because again, in full transparency, the way we're approaching Claude is not the API key itself. Because I think that's changed now, but Claude you had to jump through a lot of hoops to get an API key with them. It wasn't as straightforward and easy as OpenAI, and you have to like apply for it. And it took us a few months just to get approved for it. And we figured this was just going to be too difficult for you guys to have to do. And so the approach we're taking is AWS Bedrock, in case you've heard of that. But what that does is it brings a lot of different LLMs together.
Right.
Into one system. What we haven't quite figured out, and that's part of what we're working on right now, is how that end user experience for agencies is going to be, because in the standalone, they're going to be able to just switch between models without worrying about API keys or anything like that. But the agency experience, we're trying to make it as smooth and easy as possible. And that's the part we're trying to work out right now.
All right, that's pretty cool. That's a big task, man. Yeah.
Funny, aren't you so glad that they do all that for you? You just sign up for Hey Levi, and then you just get all the benefits while they do all the hard work.
Man, let me tell you, I spend a lot of time setting Go High Level up, or if I'm using one of the other LLMs, just depending on what type of niche and business I'm in. Like seriously, and then what language I have to do it in. It's a whole thing. And that's only if it's text. If I want to do imaging, that's a whole other animal. This thing's awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you, Tony. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Keith, you have a question?
Yeah, so just piggybacking on that a little bit, I haven't used AI that much or at all, really. So if I was optimistic and got the full white label package from you guys, but I wanted to use, I have multiple sub accounts for my own businesses. Do I need an API key? And I don't even know how much those are, or what kind of extra cost for myself is part one. And then part two, I guess you just mentioned that I would need to supply my customers with HighLevel if I added Hey Levi into it with an API key of my own. Is that right? And then I'm going to have to kind of gate how much they can use, or how does that work?
Yeah, so let me help you answer that. API key is free, by the way. You can go into OpenAI, open up an account, and get the key. OpenAI does require you to deposit $50 to utilize the API key, and then at that point you're able to use it for whatever usage, and you only need to apply you only need one API key for your entire agency. Not every single sub account needs to get their own API key. So once that's there, you're good to go. In terms of usage, we've seen, at least on the back end on our system, we're able to see how much usage, which agencies, which customers, what are they writing. And on average, you're going to see an average user produce about $5 of content in a month in terms of usage. And now that's an average. On the higher end, you may have a $10, $15 bill on their usage. But what I'm trying to say is that the usage fees are so cheap these days with OpenAI, especially with the newer models, and they're continuing to optimize this. You're not necessarily worried about receiving huge bills for usage, and you can confidently offer someone an unlimited plan and know that they're not going to go over $10-15 for at the most.
Actually, I want to say something there. It's 100,000 words will cost you roughly $5. We've had sub accounts set to 100,000 word limit, and they don't even get to 50% of that, most of them. Very rarely do they go over that. So we're talking per account. We're not saying 10, 15 bucks. We're talking a couple of dollars per month per account on average.
Awesome. And then, so again, I haven't used this effectively yet, or I've only glanced at it, but within HighLevel, there's content generating AI and conversational AI capabilities. And I, loosely heard things that some of them are great, some of them aren't. Does all of the work we put into building our brand positioning and product positioning, can we input that into the chat bot as well to make that chat bot that much better an ambassador of our businesses?
You can copy and paste it in there. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that it will have an effect. And then in terms is the content creation part within HighLevel, is that just extra that you don't need if you have Hey Levi?
Yeah, because the content AI in HighLevel has zero context on your business. So where conversation AI has the context that you feed it, content AI has zero.
Okay.
And so you would just replace it.
Does Hey Levi generate images as well?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, but that's on the list, I'm inferring. And lastly, you guys have reached I was going to ask about where Hey Levi came from as well, because it occupies space in my brain. And I'm going to be honest, it's in the same level of Costanza for those of us old enough to have watched Seinfeld, where he branded himself as he just wanted people to think Costanza when people came in. So genius, I guess, is my compliment here. Even though I don't like it, I can't forget it, and it lives in my head. So good work on that.
Well, that's great feedback.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, you have a question? We'll go ahead and get that, and then I'll go ahead and we'll spin the wheel and then call it a day.
Yeah. Back to the API key. If we use the OpenAI API key, do we have a choice of what model of the OpenAI we could use and hand out per client? Because there may be a client that doesn't need to use the 4.0. They could get away with the 3.
So you can. We don't recommend it because OpenAI is, their models are getting better and cheaper. So there's no reason to encourage anyone to use an older model, because our goal with all of our 130 plus prompts at this point is to make sure that they work best with the latest model. And we always announce that in our Facebook groups, and we let you know what we think is the best one. Sometimes OpenAI will release a model that's not quite production ready. And we let you know that as well, because we're constantly testing. But in terms of whether you can, yes, you would create feature tiers here. And then you can, update, you have a separate selection for all of the content that you generate versus the chat model, which is what is in Brainstorm AI. And you can have them be different. We just recommend using 4.0 because it is the best model. It's one of the cheapest ones. And your clients will get the best experience rather than using 3, because 3 is not going to give them as the quality that 4.0 is going to give them.
Yeah, and remember, OpenAI is not going back and updating their older models. They're leaving the older model to whatever it is, whatever education it had and updates it had. Everything new they're adding is to the newer models, and we are keeping an eye on that and training to make sure it's producing the best content for you. So I would suggest just keeping them on the newest model when they're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think they offer 3 anymore, and I believe 3.5 has been getting phased out as well, I think.
Oh, yeah, I believe you're right. I just thought, like, for future reference, because like right now it's 4.0 at a certain price, but when they come out with another model, that price could go up. And to have that choice to be able to use the older model or stay with the 4.0, I guess is where I was going with that question. But yeah, man, you guys' name is pretty cool. I don't know why I keep thinking of jeans. Levi jeans.
That's right. Levi jeans, Levi Stadium.
Yeah, man. I just stuck with me.
That part actually did factor into our early conversations about the name, because we wanted to make sure that we were, obviously you want to make, you want to know where your traffic is going to be going if they search for Levi, and we realized it was going to be jeans. But we were like, that might be a happy thing, because nobody looking for AI is going to be like, oh yeah, jeans is what I'm going to buy today. and the other way around as well, right? So we were like, yeah,
Very
if
good.
we can get some
Very
traffic from
good.
that, why not?
Very good.
I want to quickly touch on the screen that Ruheen's sharing right now. So this is like the agency dashboard, agency settings area that you get access to, and you're able to change your themes. Ruheen, could you go to the theme section? So you got a bunch of features you can select here to create plans. You've got the theme section here where you can use your brand colors for it to brand it to the way you want it. You can change the side menu to be a more compact, thinner. You can make it go, top bar if you wanted to, as well. So those are some of the options you have available where you can really make it your own within your high level.
Yo, this thing's really cool, man. You guys knocked it out of the park with this.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Well, I only bring you the best stuff.
That is correct.
And I
Like,
did
for
want to tell you
real.
guys, if you're nervous about the OpenAI, I am seriously, I have so many tools that I use my OpenAI API for. And of all of the tools and all of the people that I have using it, I think I only spend about $30 a month on credits. So don't think it's going to be like hundreds of dollars. It's really not significant. It's not something to really worry about.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would suggest anyone wanting to, sign up for the white label plan, you can confidently offer unlimited plans to your customers and not worry about usage being up, something that's taken away from your profits.
And if you guys do want to create a Hey Levi account, you can go to myvisionagency.com/Hey Levi. The link is also in the description wherever you're watching. If you do sign up, though, let me know. You can contact me on my website because I do have a snapshot and some things that I want to give you as well. Thank you, Beant and Ruheene. I look forward to seeing you at the summit again this year. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us about Hey Levi. You guys definitely shine some light on some things that I was wondering too. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Fantastic. Bridget, thank you so much for having us. Thank you guys. Thanks for allowing us to hang out with you guys and asking all those wonderful questions. We'll see you again.
Have a good one.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
take
And before the rest of you go, I do want to spin the wheel today. So for all of you who are new, just know every Friday when you do join us in the meeting, you do have to be in the Zoom meeting. Your name will get entered into we're going to spin the wheel, and whoever wins gets a free private consultation with me. So I'm going to share my screen here so that you can see, and you guys are seeing the wheel, right? Yes. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to call your name just to make sure that I call your name if you're in the meeting so that you get entered into the drawing here. So we have Tony, Ray, Charles, Frankie, Keith, Manny, Maria, and Rick. Did I miss anyone? Going once, going twice? All righty. All right, let's spin the wheel. Oh my goodness, Maria, you are just on a lucky streak here.
What is going
I
on?
was, and I was hoping for no. I was going, no, no.
You know,
I was
I
literally,
loves you, girl.
I'm telling you, we gotta go to Vegas.
You can
No.
give away a
Dude.
Christmas present to someone else if you want.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we all
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go play a lottery ticket. That's what
There you go.
I was
Man,
praying. I
pray
was telling
for us, man. It's like, man, God is looking after you.
We know who
yes,
we know who
and
to do the roulette
I
table with.
I agree, Tony. I'm gonna go get a ticket today.
Yes,
Definitely.
ma'am.
You know what it is,
Definitely.
Maria, is that you're taking action and you're being rewarded for it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I loved all the questions. Super awesome. You guys are just rock stars. I just love this community so much. Certainly, I will see you all on Monday. I hope you have an awesome weekend. And Monday, if you guys didn't notice in your emails, if you are a member of our program, you received a free account of our new social autopilot. So I'm going to be doing some training next week about that. And then, of course, next Friday, we will have Ian, who is the founder of Brand Blast, which is the white label tool that the social autopilot that I'm white labeling, that you guys all have an account. So you will be able to white label that tool, but as a member, you do get a user account under my brand that you can use. So check that out. And then, like I said, I will be doing some training next week to show you all how to dive in and start using that tool. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. Go make your vision a reality. Bye.